So, it would appear that I have 500 subscribers now. Though I can't remember why you good folks subbed me in the first place, I suppose I'll just continue with what I'm doing here because it must be right. Anyway, to kick off this momentous occasion, I've decided to review a video game. If it gets enough views, I'll keep it up. Let's start this possible new series with a review of one of the most underappreciated games of 2009, Metroid Other M. Now, before you guys start screaming,
No, that game was horrible. Samus is portrayed as a wuss.
Let me start by explaining why this game is not the worst thing ever. First of all, as is shown in the opening cinematic, this game takes place between the events of Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion, a very difficult time in Samus's life. The baby Metroid she saved from SR-388 just sacrificed itself to save her life, and by this point she had surely become attached to it. The fact that she was deeply upset through most of this game by its death is not being a quote-unquote wuss, it's being human. Let's take everyone's view of Samus, for instance. Most people view Samus as a calm and collected bounty hunter with a big bone to pick with the leader of the space pirates. She is a strong woman with little to fear. This does not mean she is emotionless. In all other games, this persona suits her quite well, but in all other games, she was mentally prepared for most of the events that transpired. When Ridley came back from the dead for... how many times has it been now? She was not expecting it. In fact, Samus had a similar, albeit less distracted reaction to Ridley's appearance in the first Metroid Prime. Her reaction is even more horrified in the Metroid manga, but I suppose none of you guys really credit its existence for this argument now, do you? The bottom line is, Samus is emotionally distressed by this point, made more so by the continuing deaths of her friends, and then Ridley shows up. Would you not break down by that point? Be honest. I'll give you a few minutes to think your answer through. Go on and make a coffee or something. This is going to take a while. Now, as far as Adam goes, I will admit the whole argument about the Variasuit does have valid points, as does the same argument for the other weapons and powers. That wasn't a particularly strong method of regaining Samus's abilities, but does that make it a bad game? Of course not! Let me put it this way. Samus takes orders from whoever pays her. That is the job of a bounty hunter. Throw on top of that her current, let's face it, employer, Adam, is a person she actually likes. Albeit stupid sometimes, she's going to follow his orders to the letter as if she has something to prove, which to Adam she always did. Okay, unfathomably bitched about story aside, gameplay-wise the game was a masterpiece. Though the missile mechanics could be tweaked, the immobility from a realistic perspective makes sense. If you were holding a missile launcher, would you be running around the room at the same time as you fired it? Well, unless you're Duke fucking Nukem, I don't think so. Otherwise, this game managed to take a full 3D platformer shooter and map the controls to the spiritual equivalent of an NES controller. This is how all games should be made. If there is one thing I hate, it's video games that use every possible resource to find a use for every button on the controller. The level design is amazing. They're big and colorful and fit the environment perfectly. When walking into a room still cloaked in environmental holograms, you know it's on a spaceship, and that's what makes it so creepy. The element of fear and suspense is captured perfectly at every turn. Even the bosses are tailor-made to almost any level of gamer. Fighting Nightmare in this game compared to Fusion was like a walk in the park, but it wasn't easy either. All in all, I thought Metroid Other M was the best Metroid game since Zero Mission. It takes everything that made Metroid what it is today and expands upon it like we've never seen before. Even if it meant pissing off everyone who thinks having emotions means you're a pussy. And yes, to all the trolls who I just know are going to flood the comments section with things like,
Hey Vok, you've never played a Metroid game before, have you?
Yes, I have played almost every Metroid game currently in existence, including Zero Mission. So shut up.
Remember me? Remember me? Remember me? Remember me? Remember me?